Hello learners, welcome back to our education channel Learn and Educate. In the previous video, just a previous video, we have learned about section 2, subsection 20, subclause 22, dividend. In that, we have understood what dividend includes, but the same video must be learned in continuity. Dividend does not include. What has happened? The section 2 clause 22 dividend has been wider, and it first of all it includes 5 points which mention dividend includes, but there are certain exclusions. Certain amount has not been included under the term dividend, so we have to learn that. But you must read the first video dividend includes, and just immediately after that read, understand, play the next video about dividend does not include. Dividend does not include a. The distributions made in accordance with the subclause C or subclause D in respect of any share issued for full cash consideration where the holder of the shares is not entitled in the event of the liquidation. Dividend does not include the amount which is made in accordance with subclause C or subclause D in respect of any shares issued for full cash consideration where the holder of the share is not entitled in the event of the liquidation to participate in the surplus assets. 1a. Distribution made in accordance with subclause C or subclause D in so far which is any distribution attributable to the capitalization profits of the company representing the bonus shares allotted to its equity shareholders and after the 31st day of March 1967 before first day of 1st April 1965, which includes distribution is attributable to the capitalized profits of the company representing the bonus shares. Second, any advance or loan made to a shareholder or the shared concern of a company in the ordinary course of its business where the lending of the money is a substantial part of the business of the company, where any advance or loan made by a shareholder or the said concern by company when the loan is advanced to a shareholder by the company in the ordinary course of business where the company is carrying on the business of lending of money which is substantial part of company businesses. Therefore, when the business of the company is lending money in the financing, then the amount which is given to its shareholder as a loan shall not be termed under the definition of dividends. Dividend does not include that proportion. Third, any dividend which is paid by a company which is set off by a company against the whole or any part of the sum previously paid by it and treats as a dividend within the meaning of subclause E to the extent to which it is so set off. When any dividend which is paid by a company which is set off by the company against the whole or any part of such sum previously paid by it, then treated as a dividend within the meaning of subclause E, to that extent it shall be set off. To the extent the dividend has been set off, it shall not be included under the term definition. Definition does not include the dividend. The definition of dividend does not include the dividend which has been set off. Fourth, any payments made to a company on the purchase of its own share, any payment which is made by the company on the purchase of its own share from a shareholder and according with the provisions of section 77A of the Companies Act 1956. What this clause 4 states that where in the case of buyback of shares, when the company buy back its share from a shareholder, the shareholder will return back the share to the company and the company will pay the amount which is mentioned by it as decided. When the company pays the amount in return of the shares from the shareholder, that is termed as buyback of the shares by company, and the consideration paid for the case of buyback shall not be included in the term of dividend, because dividend in this case the ownership has been cancelled, the seizing of the ownership all rights by the shareholder to the company. Fifth part, dividend does not include the distribution of shares pursuant to a demerger by resulting company to the shareholders of the demerged company. When the demerger, in the case of a demerger scheme, the resulting company, the payment made by the resulting company to the shareholders of the demerged company, then there's that whether that distribution of shares which is made in the case of uh, whether a reduced reduction of the profit or not, in the case of reduction of the capital of the demerged company, it will not be included under the term definition. under the term definition of dividend. Any distribution of shares which is made in accordance with the demerger by the resulting company to the shareholders of the demerged company, then that proportion, that amount shall not be termed under the definition dividend, whether it is relates to the reduction of capital of the demerged company or not. Any amount distributed, any distribution of shares by the in the person to demerger by the resulting company to the shareholders of the demerged company will not dividend. Section 5th, 4th, clause 4th includes buyback. Third, any dividend which is set off. Second, advance or loan where the company is involved in the business of giving loans. Any distributions made in respect to particular date, I think which is not applicable now because that period has been bonus to equity holders and that period has been lapsed 1st April 1965. And distributions, dividend does not include that. In the previous video learn about dividend includes, and in this video learn about dividend